Okay. All right. Make sure everything's good. Okay. All right. All right. Yeah. I think I may have missed the boat on that one. Yeah, because if we do get a break from there, I mean, that's exactly where the hell we're going. And I would like to be a part of that. I'd like to be a part of that run, honestly. But we definitely have to get over that range first at 58. We can do that. Probably might see a drop. Possibly, yeah, like a drop. And then you see price trade right back into that range. Okay. Hmm. I wonder why that's so. Okay. All right, let's get started. Let's get started. Today was definitely one of those days on both the Nasdaq and on the ES. There was a lot of opportunities on both the bullish and bearish side. Obviously, the market started off strong, but we did have the market roll over towards the afternoon session. But before we get into all that, let's actually check out the news and make sure we're fully prepared for what's going to come going into tomorrow's session. So let's pull up the economic calendar. Do this for tomorrow. And we're going to clear out all the unnecessary areas of the world that we're not going to pay attention to. Okay, cool. All right, so this is the block of news that we got going into tomorrow. At 6 o'clock in the morning Central Time, we do have Fed Bowman speaking. Excuse me. We do have the Chicago Fed Index at 7:30, which honestly I don't think will have any real significance of the market. I don't believe it will. Yeah, the Chicago Fed National Activity Index, I don't think that's going to do anything. We have some housing news at 8 o'clock. We have the consumer confidence and the Richmond Fed for the month of June at 9 o'clock. We had Fed Cook speaking at 11. We have the two-year note at 12 o'clock. And we have Fed Bowman, and we have some crude news at 3:30 in the afternoon. Now getting closer to this 1 o'clock hour, this is usually when the market reverses from whatever trend that it's currently in. So I'm assuming, depending on what happens tomorrow, this Fed speaker may reverse the market because it's so close to that time where the market reverses. So I would definitely keep an eye out for that. And with that said, let's jump into these charts. Okay. All right, so let's start with the Nasdaq. Just looking at the 60-minute on the Nasdaq, you can see that after we got that break of 760, actually right here, after we got that break of 760, what I was expecting, more or less, was a really big drop. Because if you look, that 760 level was prior support. Maybe it's not on this chart. As you can see, 760 was prior support. You can see that from this area, we had a massive rally from this area. And when price came down to test it, you can see that initially, a couple of bears did get trapped in this area right here, and they had to stop out of their positions because they was looking for that break of 760. However, we didn't get that. And I'm pretty sure this move up gave a lot of bulls hope because that 76 level held up. Unfortunately, in this situation, you can see that the bulls or the bears came in here at this neckline. You can see once they got this break of structure, price came back in, it swept this high, and then we had a break of that 760 support area. However, we had a break of structure already earlier in the session here at this 904 level. And you can see that once we got a clean break of it, that's when we had that massive move down. But it does appear that the bulls are going to want to use this area as support. And in my opinion, I do feel that they may be successful in holding this area. The reason why I say that is because once we got in that break of this area, well, we didn't see that massive stop run that I was expecting once we got that drop. Honestly, you can see that the market is actually just sticking around this area. Now, I did talk to Smith about this earlier on today. Apparently, there is a gap. I think this is the gap right here. Yeah, there is a gap. Or I believe it was a gap. Actually, let me put on the continuous contracts because I think the gap might have been filled by the charts itself, but not by the market. So actually, let me pull this up. We can pull up the continuous contract for the Nasdaq. And as you can see that there is a massive gap that needs to be filled on this continuous chart. Anyway, I don't know why they did all that. But yeah, as you can see that there's this massive gap that needs to be filled here on the continuous contract. And I do believe that the market will fill this gap before we actually get a move higher. So once this gap gets filled, Smith said he was looking at that 600 to 610 area, and that is right around the area where the gap should be filled. However, we've had so much volatility with the Nasdaq. Let's see where price could possibly be going. So I do see some support here at 69. There's the 23% here at 670. which would be ironic if that's an area where they do bounce it at. And then we do have an area here at 630. So from 650, let's look at that. Let's look at 650 and see if we can find an area where they've previously done business in this area. We can use it as a potential area of support. So 650. I mean, I do see this area right here. I do see this big range that could possibly be used as an area where the bulls come in and bounce it. 675. Let's see if we can find something better on the smaller time frame. All right, because we've got price to trade into this range. We got a rejection. But I honestly believe that this may be the temporary bottom and we may get price to trade back into this range. However, let's look at the all this bearishness. Let's see how much points it is from the high from this. Yeah, 2371. So that's interesting. So from this high to this low is about 643 points to the downside. So let's see if we can find some. So let's see if we can find some ranges actually with the Nasdaq, because I mean she's hit a lot of levels already. So at this point, we're gonna have to identify new levels because she basically hit all of them. If she's gonna go down lower, then we're gonna have to identify where potentially where she can go. Okay, so they did use that area as support. Okay. All right, so we do got this range underneath. Let me delete some of this stuff because we don't need it. No, we don't need this trend line anymore. I don't need that anymore. I guess it doesn't really matter. So it don't matter. Hmm. Okay, so we got a break of that structure. Hmm. Okay. So from what I see right now, this potentially can be a strong low here at 728. If the bulls can hold this area, we can definitely trade back into this range. But I believe that the destination will probably be this 900 level here on the Nasdaq. And this is probably where we can probably see potentially a rejection back into this area right here. And from here, this is where the bulls are going to have to hold, because either we can get this or we can get this once we get this sequence like this. So this area right here is going to definitely be where the bulls are definitely going to have to prove that they want it, because it does appear that the bears are taking their profits here at this range, or because price traded underneath this range, it swept the liquidity, and it appears as if it's about to make its rotation back higher. You do have the 21 EMA right here, the 50 right here, and the 200 EMA right at the bottom of this previous range. But we've already got the break, we got the retest. We can see that the bears did come in here at this area and was able to knock price down. So I will find it hard to believe that there's going to be more bears in this area for this to happen. I feel that there will be bears here. They will try, but ultimately they will fail. Just based on the structure. If price does chooses to sell off overnight, as stated before, I believe it's going to fill that gap, and we can possibly see a move down to 600. So that's going to be my game plan going in tomorrow with the Nasdaq so far. But because she went through so many levels, there's not really going to be a safe level to enter into, because she's kind of cleared out a lot of levels already in one session. So the question with the Nasdaq is, what direction or where does she want to take the money? Does she want to fill that gap and then have a massive move higher, or does she want to have a massive move higher, take out Juneteenth liquidity? And once they take out the liquidity at Juneteenth's high, that's where the bulls are going to really have to defend that area, because now the money in that area is cleared, and this gap and the money going down lower would probably be the market's objective. But this is just me kind of trading in foresight, and obviously things can change, especially overnight, and especially because we have some more Fed speakers tomorrow, which, I mean, they haven't said anything unexpected. However, I mean, we could have a crash Kari moment, but I would find it hard to believe that we have a full-fledged reversal, especially with all this bullishness. I would find that hard to believe. So that's all I have right now for the Nasdaq. Let's jump into the ES. fix this. Okay. Okay. All right. So for the ES, unfortunately, I wasn't able to get into this one. And honestly, this is the one thing that I absolutely hate about the 310 close. Because this is where I wanted to get in. Actually, I wanted to get in at 511. 511 was actually a level that I identified yesterday afternoon. Once this level hit this level, we did see a small rally into the end of the session. And as you can see, if I was able to stay into this position at 511, I guess I'll be up 8 points. Obviously, we opened up at around 515. I do expect for the ES to at least trade back to around. Actually, let me look at that. I do expect for the ES to trade back around like 38 to 45-ish. I do expect a rotation back into this range up here if the bulls are able to hold this low and continue to trade higher. Originally, I was looking at this 515 level. However, looking at the charts, see if I can just go over this. Okay. Yeah, so looking at this 515 level, I did identify that this 512 level right here was previous support, and it was a previous value area high. So I wanted to get in 1 point underneath this. I had my limit set. And once it hit, it was only towards the end of the day. So unfortunately, I had to close out of this position. And I was hoping that the market opened up around this area, or at least came back down to double test it. We didn't get that. We had the market open up around 15. And I didn't want to take that risk and take that trade, knowing that about 6 to 7 points could possibly be on the table. We could double bottom, but the way that it's looking, we're going to possibly break this 519 area, and we're definitely going to use the stops that all the bears use to break this level to push up higher back into this area up here, where I do expect for the bears to try to come back in. However, I do expect for the bulls to be successful and pushing the market higher, just based on the structure and where we came back into for support to possibly take out this high right here. If the market takes out this high at 587, that's when I do believe that if the bulls don't hold this area right here, or actually, I do believe that the market is going to probably reverse around that 72 to about 67 area. So somewhere in this range is where I think the market will completely roll over. And then we'll see a break of this level. We'll see the break of this 500 level. And the market will go from there. I mean, obviously the market can continue to trade higher. But if the market does reverse at this area, then I do expect for the market to have a big correction down, possibly filling a gap. I'm not sure if there's a, I mean, the Nasdaq has a gap, but the ES doesn't. It has a gap still to fill, but it's not as bad as the it's not as bad as the Nasdaq, and I'm gonna show you. It's about 10 points. It's literally about 10 points to the downside. Go to the continuous contract. As you can see, we do have that contract rollover gap. And it's this big, massive gap. However, price did fill up majority of this gap, but we still have this small gap to fill. We still have that small gap to fill. So I don't know if the market really wants to come back down from its highs just to fill this small gap on the ES. So that's going to be up for the market to decide, but we did fill majority of the gap, at least on the ES. So that's something to keep in mind for this week. That's definitely something I'm going to be keeping on my radar as well. But yeah, for right now, it does appear that the market is and will trade higher overnight. Yeah. Yeah, you can change the color on, because that's just too much. Okay, I can have that. Okay. But yeah, it does appear that the market will be filled. Order filled. Where do I have an order filled at? Where do I have an order filled at? It says something about an order being filled. What order got filled? Hopefully we don't got any ghost orders being executed. Yeah, I don't have any orders that was filled, so I don't know why it said that. Yeah, I have no orders that's filled. Okay. Anyway, yeah, so far, yeah, I'm going to be looking for that 38 to 45 level on the ES. I really am hoping, but not hoping to get filled with this order. I do feel if price does roll over overnight, if we do see a sell-off from one of the highs. I do believe that the market will bounce around this 498 to 495 level. As you can see, this was an area where the market broke out of, and you can see this area that was used as support to push this market higher. So I'm going to assume that the market will come back in around this area and do the same. Now, I do have a range for this. I do see that the market could potentially trade until 490. However, I do believe that the market is going to want to protect this low. So I do have my orders set in areas where I could possibly get both of these orders filled. I may experience some drawdown, but overall, I'll be able to catch the move higher. But if the market does continue to trade higher overnight, then honestly, you may get your moves down here and there. But as I stated before, I think the reversal is going to be at this 69 to 72 area. And looking at Bookmap, it does seem like there's a block of orders, a block of sell orders here at this level as well. So it does, at least for right now, appear that if the price does trade here, there will be sellers, and I will be one of them at this level. So hopefully I can get in long somewhere, but getting in long here at this level would definitely be not the best risk reward trade on the ES. You're not necessarily going to get away with trades like that on the ES. If the market rolls over overnight, this will be a better area to try to get in long versus trying to catch this move. It may work, but I mean, you're literally risking this potential downside. I mean, for this potential upside, I mean, the risk reward is there, but that's just too much risk to potential risk to the downside for me to take a trade like this. So, okay. So we can look at gold. Okay. So it does appear that, at least for right now, gold is being rejected from this range. I actually do expect for price to continue to sell off. I think that gold will possibly get into this area here at 36.2 to around 34.7. I think a trade where you take a light position here, somewhere in this area with a stop below this range, would definitely be a good risk reward trade. I think gold is 10 points per tick. So if you were to get in, let's just say that you got in here at 23, let's see, So 23, 4.6 minus 0.27. A 20-point stop, 27-point stop would definitely be somewhere right here. All right, so we got this move down into this range. They bounced back and forth into this range. We got a breakout. They came in and tested it. So honestly, this right here should be a strong low. If the market breaks underneath this low, we can definitely see more room for downside. So I'm assuming a good risk reward trade would possibly be here at 36.2, at 34.7, the stop underneath this candle, a couple of points underneath this candle. I do see why they're coming in short right here. Let's actually look at the DOM with this one. Let's look at the DOM. Oh, so they don't got gold on this? All right, so it does appear that there's a lot of buyers sitting at 23.40. Huh. 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 Hmm. 23.34. 50. 34.50. Huh. All right. So there is a bunch of people. So I guess the market does agree, or at least other market participants agree with me, that this area right here will be a good area for a long. You can see that there's 300 orders sitting there. There is about the same amount of people sitting right here. And I'm going to assume that if you were to get in long here at this area, it would possibly be a scalp if it works. But if you want more of a risk to reward trade, this area right here will be a better play versus buying so high, because it does appear that this area is acting as resistance so far. So we can definitely see price continue down. And if I was a gold trader, I'll be looking for this area for the bulls to come in. And how I would enter this trade is actually just wait for a double bottom, because commodities, from what I've seen, likes to double bottom before they actually take off. You don't have to worry about one of those dead cat bounces for real. With commodities, they don't play that way. I mean, you can see even with this big move, you see all this price action before you finally get this big move down. You look to the left of gold, you can see you wait for the double bottom. It's highly likely that the trade will be profitable versus hoping and praying for a V bottom. But like I said, it really doesn't happen in commodities. If they're bouncing in an area of support. They're doing double bottoms. I'm sorry, double tops. They're bouncing at double bottoms. They're bouncing at areas of support. And they're selling off in areas of resistance. and then resistance turn into support. So you really don't have to FOMO into a move like that. If the buyer is going to want to come back in at this area, then let them prove it. Let them double bottom here. And once you see that double bottom, then you can safely get in. If you don't see a double bottom, then obviously you can enter this trade at your own discretion, but I will wait for a double bottom. Because with all the selling that we had, I really think that the market will definitely try to find support here in this area, and we will at least see a bounce. It doesn't have to be a reversal, but at least a bounce. Obviously, a high risk reward trade would actually be here at 30.6. Setting a limit here with a couple of points of stop would be a risk reward trade. And what I mean by a risk reward trade, meaning that you're taking a gamble. However, the risk to your reward will look exactly like this. Your stop should literally be a couple of ticks underneath these lows, and your entry should literally be at this low or at the bottom of this wick or at the end of this body, and having your stops literally a couple of points underneath this low. Now you may get stopped out, but this is a risk reward trade where the risk looks like this and your potential reward looks like this. I would take that trade every day. But honestly, let's actually look at CL. Honestly, I would prefer to actually do analysis on CL versus gold, because like I said, I don't trade gold. So I'll start doing analysis on CL from now on, because like I said, I don't necessarily care for gold. And I have more experience trading CL. So yeah, I'll just do that. I'll just do the I'll just trade yeah. Wow, you can see that they got a stop run literally right here. All right, so we did have this massive drop. They came back in, they dropped it again, they double bottom in there. So we did have a stop run right here on CL. Okay. Huh. Hmm. I wonder. So what I'm thinking of is that we got to sweep these highs here on CL. Usually we don't get fake outs with CL. Usually if you see a sweep of liquidity, you can kind of expect for the market to move in the opposite direction once you see that. However, you can see that we had this massive drop from this area. We double bottom. So 78. It's about like 10 points right there. I'm actually considering taking this short. 74, 81, 74. But this might actually be going up higher. The way that this is looking, this actually may be trending. We might get a move higher in oil tomorrow. If we can get a breakout above these highs, and they can find support here at the top of this range at 81.75, we can start to see price trending. Price is already trending. It was trending all day, apparently. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. So if we do see a move down, I do expect for the market to possibly trade back into this 81.23 level, because we did get a break of this range. We can see that we have this retest, and from this retest, price continued to trend higher. So I'm expecting that's what the market, what CL is going to do tomorrow as well. It's going to continue to trend higher. Let's see where exactly we can see a potential area where we might see a rejection. So let's see. Price could possibly trend until about 82.29. We could see that. But there is an area right here at 82.75. Okay, I didn't see that. Yeah, I think that got right there. Yeah, about 82.39. Yeah. Yeah, 82.39. Because that's where that breaker structure happened. We had that drop. So either the bears defend this level, or we're going to see a stop run higher. And this is possibly where the market wants to get to, 82.77. So this might be the area where the bears want to come, or the bulls want to get into. And then we might see a drop. And then from here, we can see what happens. But I guess what I should do is actually just start marking up this chart. I'll do that. Oh, my bad, my bad. I didn't have the chat open. Are you saying so on a thumbnail? Is that me in a suit? No, that was an avatar that I created a while back for the NA meetings when I was recording them, and it was just an avatar because at the time I didn't have the space to do it face to face. I didn't have the space. I had a workstation, and at that workstation, it's a lot of sensitive information, so I really couldn't turn my camera on at that workstation. So as a replacement, I used an AI or AI generated image. And yeah, the trader shop. Yeah, going back to ES, yeah, I'm definitely I'm not gonna lie, I'm hoping that we get this rollover, honestly. Because I do want to get this order filled. But if this 10 level holds, then yeah, obviously I won't get filled. But I'm not gonna lie, it just sucks that yeah, it sucks that this happened overnight, or it happened before the end of the session. So or at the end of the session. And what bothers me is that a lot of people, a lot of top step traders are now long. So now that kind of makes me question if my position is safe.
Order filled.
It kind of makes me question if the market is going to go long here. Not saying that a lot of people from top step traders aren't good traders. I just know that if everybody's long, then there's nobody to be on the other side of your trade. So everybody can't be long and everybody can't be paid. And so usually if there's more people on one side of the market, they're usually on the wrong side of the market. But we'll see. But all right, guys, I appreciate everybody that joined. We'll do this again tomorrow morning. Yeah. Oh yeah, and if you was there with the stream, you obviously that short worked. I'm not gonna lie, I was absolutely surprised when the short that we took on stream worked, because of all that bullish momentum. I seriously thought that the market was going to at least try to double top here possibly get into 570 before we see the market completely roll over. However, we didn't get that. So I guess my internal voice was right about this position. I think a lot of the times I do get in the way of my trades because of my bias. And that situation was definitely a great example of that, because that was like a 20, 30 point move from the high for my entry point. So I'm not gonna lie, that kind of hurt my feelings, but it happens. It's trading. So we're just gonna keep planning our trades, trading our plan, and we'll continue to make money. And with that said, peace out.